Get up! Don't you ever sit in the front row again? You don't belong here! The teacher's voice thundered through the classroom, slamming against the walls like a gavel. Desks rattled as heads turned, and whispers slithered across the room. The humiliation was instant, sharp, and cruel, and the sting burned across the face of a boy who had done nothing but sit where his heart told him he belonged. Before we go deeper, what country are you watching from? Drop it in the comments, and if you have not subscribed yet, smash that subscribe button. Turn on the bell for more powerful stories, because what you're about to hear, it's not just a story about a student. It's a story about power, prejudice, and a twist so shocking it silenced an entire district. His name was Jamal Carter, a 16-year-old Black American high school junior from Charlotte, North Carolina. Jamal was tall and slim, with deep brown skin, close-cropped natural hair, and eyes that carried both sharp intelligence and quiet determination. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't loud, but he was a boy who believed in his right to learn, to be seen, and to claim space in a world that often tried to shrink him. That morning, Jamal had dressed simply, a plain white t-shirt under a navy hoodie, clean jeans, and sneakers. His backpack was worn but neatly packed with textbooks and notebooks. He had studied late into the night, eager for the day's lesson, eager to prove to himself and to the world that he was worthy of every opportunity given. But the system had other plans. When Jamal walked into class, he made a quiet choice. He sat in the front row. Not the back where distractions lived, not the middle where he could fade into the blur, but the front. He wanted to learn. He wanted to show he was serious. The room shifted. A few white classmates snickered. A boy in a red varsity jacket muttered under his breath, "Look at him acting like he's somebody." Another whispered, "He won't last there." And then it came. The teacher, Mr. Reynolds, a man in his 50s with thinning blonde hair and a reputation for favoritism, stormed down the aisle. His face was red, his finger jabbing toward Jamal like a weapon. "Get up! Don't you ever sit in the front row again? You don't belong here." The words landed like blows. The class erupted in gasps and whispers. Some laughed, others looked away, ashamed but silent. The humiliation was sharp, searing into Jamal's chest as heat rose behind his eyes. Jamal gripped his backpack straps, his mind spinning. He had done nothing wrong, nothing but choose a seat. But in that moment, his dignity was stripped bare. The teacher sneered. "The front is for students who care, for leaders, for those who actually pay attention, not for someone like you. Move to the back. Now." Jamal's throat tightened. Every eye in the classroom pressed on him, weighing him down, daring him to resist. His hands trembled, but not from fear, from rage. Still, he rose slowly, refusing to let the tears fall, and walked to the back of the room where laughter followed him like shadows. But what no one knew, not the smirking teacher, not the mocking classmates, was that Jamal Carter's father was not a man to be disrespected. Later that week, the entire school gathered inside the district's grand auditorium, a space that seemed larger than life. Rows upon rows of students filled the seats, their voices rising into a steady hum of chatter and curiosity. Teachers sat scattered among them, their postures stiff, whispers carrying rumors of something big about to happen. The stage lights glowed bright, illuminating the podium at the center, as the district superintendent stepped forward. His presence hushed the crowd instantly. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced, his voice booming through the speakers, "today we welcome a new era of leadership. Please stand and recognize the new president of the school board, Mr. David Carter." The name struck the room like lightning. Gasps rippled across the sea of faces. Teachers straightened in their seats, some clapping hesitantly, others exchanging nervous glances. Students craned their necks, curiosity painted on their expressions. And Jamal, his heart thundered in his chest as he rose slightly in his seat, eyes widening. His father, the man who had worked his way from a community activist to one of the most respected voices in education, walked calmly across the stage. Tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a perfectly cut dark suit, David Carter's presence demanded attention. His eyes, steady and unyielding, swept over the crowd as if he could see into the heart of every person sitting there. This was the same man who had raised Jamal to believe in himself when the world tried to shrink him. The same man who said, "Never let anyone tell you where you can or cannot sit. You belong in every room you walk into." And now, here he stood, not just as Jamal's father, but as the highest authority in the entire district. The auditorium buzzed with an energy no one could quite explain. Phones discreetly lifted, capturing the moment. The teachers who had whispered about Jamal sat rigid, nervous. And one man, Mr. Reynolds, the teacher who had humiliated Jamal days earlier, sat frozen. His jaw tightened, his knuckles white as he clutched the edge of his chair, eyes fixed on the stage as though bracing for a storm. David Carter reached the podium. He adjusted the microphone, his voice steady, measured, and commanding. "My son Jamal told me what happened in his classroom this week." His words cut through the silence, sharp and deliberate. A teacher humiliated him in front of his peers for daring to sit in the front row, for daring to take space. The words echoed like a hammer striking steel. Students shifted uneasily. Teachers swallowed hard. David's eyes swept across the room, pausing just long enough to land on Mr. Reynolds, who shrank back in his seat. "Let me make this clear," David continued, his voice growing stronger. "Every child in this district has the right to sit in the front, to learn, to lead, to believe in themselves, and anyone who tells them otherwise has no place teaching them." The reaction was instant. The auditorium erupted in a storm of sound, clapping, cheers, and gasps all at once. Students rose to their feet, some pumping fists in the air, others shouting Jamal's name. Teachers shifted uncomfortably, some applauding with hesitation, others staring at the floor, shame heavy in their faces. And there was Mr. Reynolds, pale, rigid, his jaw slack. In that moment, the authority he had wielded so arrogantly crumbled to dust. He was no longer the man towering over Jamal, yelling in a classroom. He was just another figure exposed, judged, and defeated in the light of truth. But the most powerful image was Jamal himself. He sat in the front row of that assembly, exactly where he had chosen to be days earlier. His chin lifted high, shoulders back, his father's words washing away the humiliation that had tried to stain him. His dignity, once stripped, now shone brighter than ever. The humiliation that had begun with whispers in a classroom now ended with thunder inside a packed auditorium. The boy they tried to push to the back became the symbol of change that pushed an entire district forward. This wasn't just a story about a classroom. It was about every child who has ever been told, "You don't belong here." It was about every dream smothered by prejudice, every voice silenced by authority, every student who sat in the back not because they wanted to, but because someone told them they had to. And it was about the power of truth, justice, and family to turn humiliation into legacy. So let me ask you, have you ever been told that you don't belong? If the answer is yes, then drop a comment below right now saying, "I belong." Because together, we are rewriting these stories. Don't forget to hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with us. Because the next story, the next twist, it's going to be even more powerful.